Gadget. How do you even pronounce it? Gadgetson. He mortal coiled his own creature. That is a fascinating choice. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Bad Enough Dudes. My name is Zach, Zenith Rising, and I'm here once again to answer the question, am I good enough at Hearthstone to do something? I don't know, I really need to come up with a tagline. I'll figure it out. Leave in comments what my tagline should be. Anyways, I'm going to do another Hearthstone arena run. I've been playing this game a lot. You can tell by my total of only 15 gold, and we're gonna see how it goes. Hopefully pretty well. I've been having a lot of fun with Hearthstone lately. So my options are Thrall the Shaman, Garrosh Hellscream the Warrior, Uther Lightbringer the Paladin. Been playing a lot of Warrior lately, really like him. Not such a fan of Paladin. I don't think I've recorded a Shaman run yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and go for that. For Doomhammer. Alright, let's see what we got. Alright, Manatee Totem, very tough to keep alive, but quite good. An extra card a turn. If you can keep him alive, he's so fantastic. Gadget, how do you even pronounce it? Gadgetson Auctioneer. He's very, very good. Very good. He's very, very good. But I love me some AoE and Lightning Storm. 2 to 3 damage to all enemy minions. So it makes one random determination. It's either 2 or it's 3, and it does that damage to all minions. And pretty much every overload spell is totally worth it. They're fantastic. Except this one, actually. Dust Devil, 1 life. He dies. I mean, a third of the classes can do 1 damage out of the gate. So if you play him on your first turn, your second turn, you have 0 mana, and you lose your entire second turn, and your opponent probably just kills it, and you get nothing out of it. Iron Fur's not very good either. 3/3, he trades 1 for 1. That's it. Sen'jin, obviously fantastic. We all know we love the Sen'jin. Big fan of the Fairy Dragon. Solid card, but I like the Fire Elemental a little bit better. That 3 damage is fantastic. And Argent Squire, you know, she's not as bad as some, but I don't really like her. Let's see what we got. Murloc Tidehunter's okay, great for a weenie deck, but you know, the 1/1, the 2/1, they do tend to get pinged for the same reason that Dust Devil does. Fen Creeper costs a little bit more, you know, 1 mana for only 1 more health than the Sen'jin. Not quite as good a value, but still a very good value. That's 6 health, hard to kill. All solid creatures here, although Bloodsail considerably better if you've got a lot of weapons, which I can't reliably get with a Shaman. But Boulder Fist, I think, is the best value here, so I'm going to go ahead and grab him. No, to Totemic Might, who cares if your totems have 4 health? Unless you've beefed them up in other ways, that's just not useful. With a Rogue, I love the Southsea deckhand because it's 1 mana for a 2/1 charge, but with any other class, you can't really reliably have a weapon. And the Flame Tongue Totem is quite good. Puts 4 extra damage on the field, at least best case scenario. Totally worth it for 2 mana. Windspeaker, I'm a big fan of. Reckless Rocketeer is a 1-for-1 trade. That's it. I hate the Reckless Rocketeer. Never pick her unless I'm forced to. Loot Hoarder, I'm a big fan of. The card draw is great, as well as, you know, getting the 2 damage in there with the card draw. I do prefer the Loot Hoarder to the Novice Engineer, if only just. Windspeaker. I'm gonna go with the Windspeaker. That aggressive Wind Fury. So this is kind of, I don't like the War Golem that much. You know, 6 mana for a 6/7 as opposed to 7 mana for a 7/7. Unlike the Fen Creeper, where that 1 extra life makes it still worth it, I don't really see that 1 extra damage as making the War Golem worth it. And I'm a big fan of both Flame Tongue and Rock Biter. I think since I already have a Flame Tongue, I'll go ahead and take the Rock Biter. It's perhaps a little bit more versatile than the Flame Tongue, if not quite as effective. Raging Worgen's one of the best 3 mana drops in the game, in my opinion, and these two are not that great. Voodoo Doctor's okay in a pinch. Okay, nice selection of rares here. I'm actually a pretty big fan of all of these. The random +1 attack, solid, +2 attack every time you cast a spell is great with most classes. You can sometimes get this up to a 5/3 and swing with it, and it only costs 2 mana. But I'm gonna go for the Lightning Storm. I won't take a third if a third pops up, but I would really appreciate having 2 of those. And speaking of overload cards, look who we got here. Unbound Elemental, great value. 3 mana, 2/4, not bad to begin with. And then if you start playing overload spells, he gets a permanent +1/+1. That's fantastic. Earth Shock is mediocre, but, you know, not useless. Rock Biter's pretty good, but I'm going to go ahead and grab myself an Unbound. And I'm going to grab myself a second Unbound. Murloc Tidehunter, okay. Wind Fury Harpy, kind of mediocre. Unbound, quite like him. Spiteful Smith is great for a rogue, or if you know you've got a lot of weapons. So far, I haven't seen a single weapon. So, you know, at this point, he's sort of 5 mana for a 4/6, which actually isn't bad all on its own. But without the weapon, I don't think I'm going to pick him. Spell damage would be nice. I might take that since I've got the 2 Lightning Storms. That's going to buff those up nicely. Although the silence wouldn't be too bad. I'm going to go ahead and grab the spell damage. Generally, if you can get a decent effect with a creature, it's generally better than a card that just has an effect, a spell. Generally, depends on the spell, obviously. Restore a minion full health and give it taunt. It's not great, but, you know, if you've got nothing else, it helps in a pinch. Bluegill, also not great. Dust Devil, also not great. So really the question is, do I want to get the 2/1 charge, or do I want the taunt and the health restore? And frankly, I'll take the health restore over that charge. It's not a great charge, in my opinion. On the other hand, these are 3 great cards. Lightning Bolt, 1 mana for 3 damage. Sound familiar, MTG players? And we've got Acolyte of Pain, who's pretty good, especially with a mage, because then you can just damage him yourself. But even when you're not a mage, he's not bad. And Raging Morgan, as I already discussed, is one of my favorite 3-drops. Man. I've got 1 spell damage so far. Oh, and I've got the Unbounds, and this is Overload. Alright, I'll take the Lightning Bolt instead of the second Morgan. Huh. Could get myself a 3rd Unbound, and I might do just that, actually. If this were a Spellbreaker, I would take it hands down, but the thing about the Ironbeak Owl is it only has 1 health, and any creature with 1 health, a third of the classes in the game can just kill it without even thinking about it. And then there's a bunch of other cards that can poke in 1 damage there, and so then you're basically spending 2 mana on a silence, and a card, which is not really worth it. Silver Moon's solid, not fantastic, but solid. 3/3 Divine Shield, I like. I'm gonna get a 3rd Unbound. That may be too many. I don't know. Direwolf Alpha, I like. Ancient Brewmaster, I like maybe a little bit better. Stormwind Champion, honestly not a huge fan of. He's not awful, but he just never quite pans out for the 7 mana, you know. 6 mana, I get a 6/7. That's a better creature, so I've got to have a couple of creatures on the board before he becomes worth it. You know, and there's times certainly when he's a great card, but I think I'll take the Magashan. The Magashan's not great, but, you know, he throws up 7 health worth of taunt, so he slows him down for a little while and pings in a little bit of damage while he does it. And like I said, I don't really like these sort of just give an effect spells when I could be getting a creature and get that same effect. And 2 mana for essentially 2 damage is just, yeah, it's weak sauce. So, Magashan. Cult Master, pretty easy choice here. You get that card draw. Ideally, you play the Cult Master right before you're going to trade some creatures, so you guaranteed at least 1 draw with him. And, you know, he's a 4/2, which means he dies easily, but a lot of times you can get good damage in with him before he dies. Totemic Might is kind of worthless, and Argent Squire's okay, but I'm not a huge fan, you know. It's still a 1/1, even if it has Divine Shield. Your opponent can just ignore it. Already discussed all three of these cards. Three very good cards. Azure Drake gets you 4/4 plus card draw plus spell damage for 5 mana. Totally nice. Mana Addict, 2 mana for a 1/3 that you can beef up pretty easily with your spells, of which I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spells out of 19 so far. So, I mean, pretty good chance. And the Manti Totem, really tough to keep alive. But if you can keep it alive, it can win you the game. But I'm going to go for the Azure Drake. I mean, that's like, anytime you play this, you're going to be happy. Second Boulder Fist. Pretty easy choice, I think. See, Dalaran Mage used to be a 2/4, but they decided that was too powerful, and it kind of was. It was a great choice every time. As a 1/4, it's considerably less useful, though it's still not bad. And I'm going to go with him over these two. I mean, these are kind of blah. Using a card, not getting a creature, getting a kind of... Okay, I mean, Wind Fury is a great effect, but whatever creature you give Wind Fury to is just going to die immediately. So, ooh. Bloodlust. You probably only need one in a deck, but that can win you the game right there. If you've got 3 creatures out, 4 creatures out, that's 9, 12 damage that wasn't there before. It's just fantastic. Wisp, if you didn't know, is just crap on a stick. Do not, under any circumstances, take a Wisp. Maybe if it's a very combo-heavy rogue deck. But even then, and Flame Tongue's good, and I would really love to have a second Flame Tongue, actually, but I'd rather have a second Bloodlust. Okay, getting down to the last 7 cards. What do we got? Frost Shock, the crappier Earth Shock, which is not that good to begin with. River Crocolisk, vanilla 2 for 2/3, but it's not bad. Oh, my mic's doing weird stuff. Stop it. Okay, I didn't clear it up. Okay, Lord of the Arena. He's actually better as an offensive creature, I find. You know, the 5 health at 6 mana is really... I mean, for 4 mana, I've got a 5 health taunt right here. So he tends to die really quickly, but sometimes you can get some good damage in him, get a good trade in him. He's not great, but he's not awful. You know, compared to those other 2, I'll take him. Easy choice here, Ogre Magi. He's like an slightly not quite as good Azure Drake. 1 less mana, but no card draw. But you get the spell damage, you get a decent, beefy creature, and I hate Shield Bearer. He's awful, and Ancestral Healing is not great. Ooh, so Frostwolf Warlord is okay. You can usually get him up to a 6/6 pretty reliably, which for 5 mana isn't bad. And I take him a lot of the time. Frost Shock is not very good. Forked Lightning I love. 1 mana. It combines with our 3 Unbound Elementals. 2 damage to 2 enemy creatures. It's like a Cleave for warriors, but for 1 less mana. And Cleave is quite good. Okay, Thromalf Farseer dies all the time. Not really worth it. Raging Organ, very good. Flesh-Eating Ghoul, really good. Both of these guys tend to be bullet magnets, but what are you going to do? At least they'll soak up a card or 2 before they die. And if they don't get killed, they tend to be very effective. I think I'll go with a Flesh-Eating Ghoul, just since I already got 1 Raging Worgen. Wind Fury, no, definitely not. Between Sen'jin and Forked Lightning, that's a really tough choice. I've already got 1 of each, and they're both very, very good. I think just because I have the Unbound, I'm going to grab, or the 3 Unbounds, I'm going to go ahead and grab the Forked Lightning. I wonder, how many creatures do I have? Do I not have enough? I think I've got enough creatures. If anything, I could use more like 1, 2, and 3 drop creatures. Once I get up to 4, I've got plenty of creatures to throw out. So, Forked Lightning. Okay. Easy choice, Swamp Ooze. Raid Leader, 3 mana for a 2/2. Like, his ability is pretty good, but he's a 2/2 for 3 mana. That's, like a 2/2 for 2 mana is not good. Archmage, quite good. I really like him, actually. The 4/7, the 7 life total, it makes him hard to deal with. But the Swamp Ooze is so fantastic. He's one of the better cards in the game. to just toss off your opponent's weapon is so good. All right, last card. Spell damage, I could definitely get some use out of that. Ancient Mage is pretty good for that. Sun Fury Protector, 2 mana for a 2/3, which on its own is solid. And then giving a couple of creatures taunt, not bad at all. Emperor Cobra, he's okay. You can take out a big creature with him sometimes, but you're rarely going to trade better than 1/1 for him. So I'm not as big of a fan of him as some other things. I think because I've got so much damage spells here, I've got the Lightning Bolt, I've got 2 Lightning Storms, I've got 2 Forked Lightnings in here somewhere, right there. I'm gonna get Ancient. All right, so let's go ahead and see what we got with my first cast of a Shaman deck. It seems okay. I don't do as well with Shaman as I do with some of the others. I don't think I quite get the mechanics of it. I find that Overload is a really good mechanic. And I got lucky. I got a lot of good Overload cards, and I got some good, solid, sort of chunky creatures that'll get out there and do some damage. So hopefully we'll do okay. I think Warlock decks tend to be pretty aggro. I think we'll have to toss off all of those. Hopefully get some cheaper stuff. So like my Forked Lightnings will do really nicely. All right, much better, much better. Should be able to slow him down pretty well. We'll probably coin into the Unbound on turn 2, I would think. So we'll do nothing for this turn. Or maybe coin into the Worgen. We'll see what he puts out. Doesn't put out anything. I think I will... This is tough. The question is, what is the likelihood I cast Lightning Bolt next turn? Or I want to cast Lightning Bolt next turn. I'm going to cast the Worgen. Generally a good choice. The reason I like casting a Worgen or alternatively an Amani Berserker as early as possible, because it kind of limits his options. He can't really throw out anything that does 1 damage or anything that does 2 damage, because then he risks enraging the Worgen, and there's sort of a classic trade. So 1-for-1 trade, not ideal, but that's how it goes. Let's go ahead and throw out the Unbound. So, you know, maybe he had a 1 damage creature or 2 damage creature he would have rather cast than that 3/1. Who knows? But I like putting my opponent in that situation, limiting their options. Okay. Unfortunate. So that trades pretty well. And I don't have a good way of killing it. Well, here's what we'll do. We'll put out the Flesh-Eating Ghoul. We will Lightning Bolt. Take that guy out. Pop up the Ghoul, and we'll swing for 2 more damage. So, not ideal. We could have pumped up that the Unbound Elemental with the Lightning Bolt, but... that's okay. We've got the board. He's got a bit of a card advantage at the moment. Let's see what he does. Actually, I guess I should be counting card advantage, including the cards on the board. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're even in cards in that case. And I've got a bit of a board advantage, though not much. So the question is, where's he going with this tiger? And I can't throw up a taunt.
I wonder.
If I throw up the Cult Master, that gives him a target he's probably not interested in. I think I'm going to do the Cult Master. I mean, the other option would be the Brewmaster and return my poor silenced Unbound Elemental. But I've got 2 more of them in the deck. I don't think that's necessarily great. And I like this because if he kills the Cult Master with his Tiger, my Ghoul gets bigger. If he kills the Ghoul, I draw a card. Okay, so he's going to mark the Ghoul for death, and then he's going to kill the Cult Master, I would assume. No, you don't want to attack. What?
That was a mistake.
So he just marked my ghoul for death and then killed it with the tiger, giving me a card. That is a fascinating choice. What the heck? Okay, let's go ahead and make that trade. Draw another card. So now we have 6 mana, and I think Lord of the Arena. Pretty easy choice.
The gates are open.
He'll protect the Cult Master, and unless he casts a spell to kill the Cult Master, he'll die before the Cult Master, giving me yet another card draw. So that was a huge mistake. I have no idea what he was thinking there. Maybe he misclicked, but that put the game in my favor pretty solidly. So we'll see what other tricks he has up his sleeves here. Ooh, grand. So you get your 2/1 back. Where'd that 2/1 even go? Did he hit? Oh, he mortal coiled his own creature. This guy, I didn't even notice that. This guy is making some wacky plays. I mean, because you're using a card to draw a card. So it's net nothing. Unless you're, like, desperate for cards. Which he shouldn't.
I wonder.
Wow. Okay. That's okay. No idea what this guy's doing. He's at 10 life, and I can throw 6 extra damage on the board. I think that's a pretty easy call, and that gives me 2 more mana to throw up a totem. Oh, hold on to your horses. I'm figuring out how to make you die now.
Farewell.
There, you're at 1. Get out of that. So, I mean, he's got nothing at this point, I don't think. A Hellfire would kill him, so he can't cast that.
Apple on your head.
Ooh. Alright, sure. So, kill him. That's fine. You still have to kill this first, which gives me another card draw. Okay. Thank you. I can just... This game's over. Yeah, it was. Not so much by you. But I'll give you the well played anyways. I do win this time. Well, alright. So far, so good. I don't know if I can really take credit for that one. Angry, whatever your name was, I didn't even bother to read it. I'm sorry. But, I maybe work on your play. I guess we did just go. This is my first cast, actually, since Hearthstone went open beta. So, congratulations and welcome to all our new open beta players. Hopefully you have some fun watching these and learn a thing or two. And, yeah. So, I'm going to sign off for now. I'll come back with part 2, and we'll see how far this Shaman deck goes. But until then, like, subscribe, leave some comments below. I'd love to chit-chat with you guys. But my name is Zach, Zenith Rising, signing off, reminding you all, don't mortal coil your own creatures.